Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Semi Toxic Podcast. There are worse things for you out there. My name is Marigold.
I'm Kai.
I'm Dead Slayer.
Down topics, and the host, that's me, will pick one using a random number generator. And today we'll be talking about childhood games.
What kind of childhood games?
All the games that you made up as a kid. You know, all the
Okay.
ones
The
you
ones
had
we
fun
made
with.
up?
We could also talk about ones you just played with, but generally, we made up a few when we were kids.
I
And
can
before we
try
continue with our
for it.
topic, don't forget to like and subscribe. And
That
now,
was my favorite childhood game.
yes, like and subscribe was the best game.
I loved liking and subscribing. It was amazing.
Exactly.
It was just the best feeling when you didn't have to worry about jobs or taxes. You could just like and subscribe.
That's right.
You know what? I think that deserves a like.
And a subscription?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, I guess. You talked me into it.
Yes. So
I feel like I might be. I feel like I might be a disadvantage here because like a lot of my games were like something that you really shouldn't do. Like jump off the cliff.
yeah, those
like I
kinds of
think
games.
I told you like when people say like, oh, what you do if your friends jump off a cliff? Will you? And I'm like, yeah, and I did.
Oh yeah, my
Well, you're in
favorite
good
game.
company because Dead Slayer rolled towards traffic.
Hey.
Oh yeah, my favorite game to play was Is There an Afterlife?
Oh boy.
Basically, I had to do a lot of wrangling when we were kids.
No.
The Tattletale Wrangler.
Well, I wouldn't have to be a tattletale if you weren't trying to kill yourselves.
Just
Yourselves?
having a little fun, a little death never hurt anyone.
Is he like actually James 3? And like, or like, is he really the
I'm
54th
James
one?
54.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah, come on. You knew there had to be at least 53 other Dead Slayers.
Did you?
No,
Is this the one
there
that
were.
finally stuck?
Well, he stuck around for now. We'll see in a couple years.
Is that why you sent him to the army to like straighten him up from stop dying?
I remember that we used to play a lot of checkers and chess, and we have played backgammon like twice, but like those were long apart, and we forgot the rules for both times.
Well, I was
Same
thinking. Well,
here.
actually, it was double checkers that inspired this idea. But I was thinking you talk about when you and the kids we lived with at the apartments would play like Romans back in the creek out back.
Oh, that sounds
Oh,
cool. Damn.
yeah. Well, so it wasn't exactly Romans. They just one of them really liked Rome, another one liked Egypt. I guess
Oh,
same time period.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that one was less like pretending we were Romans or whatever. It was more like basically just a fort sort of thing. We would go in the woods, we would quote unquote make a fort. Basically, we would grab sticks and we would just lay them across trees and try to build
Ah.
quote unquote walls.
It was
And it
fun.
didn't really work very well because it was a wooded area, but it wasn't very dense woods, and there weren't very many sticks long enough to actually go between the trees. But yeah, we had weapons because any good fort has, armed occupants. And so naturally we would use what we had available, which in the woods were sticks.
Yeah.
So I liked my swords because, you didn't have to be too close as with, daggers and quote aka smaller sticks. And they tended to be pretty balanced, easy to swing, whatever. The taller one of my two friends that I'd play with liked spears because he liked basically being at a distance. He liked the idea of if he and I were to spar, he would be able to stab me before I could even get close, but that never happened because it's literally a matter of sidestepping.
He was also
Does
the Roman one. So he was
Ah.
thinking
Yeah.
of that like shield thing where you put all your shields up and stick your spears out like a prickly porcupine.
Got it. Not what the Romans did, but what the Greeks did.
Yeah, what the Greeks did, but
Didn't the
Rome.
Romans copy that?
The
The
Rorar
Romans did copy
they
that.
did the original ones were even at one point the Triarii were the only ones who did that.
He loved the Terraria. But
They never fought.
so he would know better than I would. But yeah, so he liked spears. He liked that idea. He didn't have a shield, so it was a matter of just sidestep and then just
Ah.
hit him. But the the smallest one of us, and like I think at the time, like he probably came up to maybe the bottom of my neck. So
Wow,
he was
That
he was
wasn't
kind
the
of
smallest. That was the middle one.
yeah, the true smallest wasn't part of it. He was too
uh,
small.
oh
He
But
was
wow,
very young, but he would come out with us
yeah.
occasionally and play.
Hmm.
occasionally, but yeah, so the smallest one of us for intents and purposes, uh he liked the idea of being a berserker, and so he liked the idea of fighting with a club. What this
Oh yeah.
meant was glorious. It
Okay.
meant he would look for those really thin sapling trees that are still clearly still growing, and he would
Oh yeah, yeah.
pull them out, and he would have a club almost as big as he is.
Oh my
But
god.
it's a sapling, so it was light enough for him to wield. But still, a short kid with a big ass stick, as big, almost as tall as he is,
Yeah.
just swinging it around as fast as he could, like a goddamn lunatic. It was
He was a
glorious.
sight to behold.
He also was terrible at sparring.
Did
I
you guys
was the
actually hit
super
each other?
soldier. Yeah, we actually sparred.
Of course they hit each
Oh.
other. Like, what
So
do you mean?
I was the super soldier of them because, a club that was not very wieldy because it was as big as he was, and a spear that wasn't the most ideal weapon because I would just close the distance.
Hmm.
Man, you
I just
really
had
have
the
a
advantage.
rosy look at those afternoons, don't you? You
It was
all had bruises coming home.
it was fun.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was essentially it. We had our forts. We had a stream where I would throw small rocks against large rocks, and then I would shape the shards that flew out into arrowheads that I could not attach to sticks and make arrows because I didn't know how to make arrowheads. So I just
Yeah, they
made
were
really
pretty terrible.
sharp rock. I just made really sharp rock shards,
Hmm.
and I just pretended they were arrowheads. Which
That's
they
fair.
probably could have been. They only
Oh no,
needed
yeah.
they only needed the notches to actually attach it to a stick. But
That
yeah,
was my
I
thing
didn't know
too.
how to make those notches.
I never knew how to make the notches either, so I would just like tie a sharp rock to a stick and shit like that. Yeah. I found a perfect stick for an axe once, and that was my favorite thing. And then one day it just split, and I was so depressed.
Oh,
I had a really cool axe for a while, but then it split, and I couldn't use it anymore. And I was like, ah, fucker.
man, I'd be heartbroken.
I was, man.
Like that,
Like
good axes are hard to find.
I found like it was literally the perfect stick. It
That
was split
axe
down the
though.
middle, but it had like a little thing on top, and so I could easily tie. I got some twine, and I tied it together, and I made a big old axe. And I remember when we were playing, we were finding mistakes. It was kind of unfair because then I had an actual axe, like a stone. So like I couldn't actually hit people with it because it would probably probably open them up. That was a big thing too. Is that so I have a very vastly different childhood, but basically when I was growing up, I was in a country where like they don't. It's weird, very strange. It's like they control you socially, but when you're out in the field or when you're out having like recess or something, they don't control you. And so it's like everyone would just throw rocks at each other, and then if you hurt someone, you had to like shake their hand. And I remember that really got me because like someone straight up knocked me out, like with a rock. Like they actually got a big rock
Ooh, that was
and
bad.
I was a child, as a young child, and I
Yeah,
just
no,
got my
we
head.
had our fair share of stitches at our
Hmm.
elementary school, but knocking out.
Oh, they don't
I
do
had the
stitches
same
there.
thing playing monster tag, and so kids would throw giant rocks at my head. Or I say
Well, they
Yeah.
giant.
threw
They
giant
were the
rocks at
size of
everyone who was the monster.
yeah, but they would always make me the monster.
Yeah, and so like when I was in America, that was different. It was different because like in America, I mean, obviously everyone has a different story, but like where I grew up,
Yeah.
they always had they would have like 8 playground monitors, and so it was like you couldn't do shit, and like even hearing I remember in my kindergarten, even hearing you say that they would ban word like types of play, not just like not like Kill the Carry and Monster Tag and shit like that, but like they banned like pretending to be Power Rangers,
Oh,
you
that's
know?
BS.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
what
it's
I did is that
copyrighted. They didn't want to get
is that
sued.
so I mean that's really funny you said because like that's literally one of the ways I got around it was that I made a group and we called ourselves like the Fighting Cops and stuff like that.
Aww.
Yeah, I know. Like, I literally was like, I literally was. I mean, I was literally because I was like fucking 4, 5, 5, something like that. And I'm like, what if we? And I remember talking to my mom, and I'm like, what other words? And she's like, I guess fighting, and then like, I don't know, cops or like rangers, and I'm like fighting cops, and so like we made this whole apocrypha, and we had like, and we had a whole, we had a whole group. It was like three boys and two girls, and we made our whole thing about it, and like the kids, since it wasn't banned, we were able to actually do it, and we made a whole thing about it. And obviously, when I moved out when after kindergarten, so it's a little different. So I couldn't continue with them because I was living in a different city, but that was really fun. Um, and then like, because like just making up that fake,
Get around copyright.
get around copyright exactly,
No copyright law in the universe can stop me.
exactly.
I remember another game that me and Spear Kid uh, used to play.
Yeah, we'll just call him
Also relate,
Spearhead and Berserker.
also related to spears.
Yeah.
Um, so Marigold, do you remember the ski poles that we used to have, the extendable ones that lost the little discs that they were supposed to have?
Uh-oh.
No, but now I'm more concerned because I don't think I remember this story.
Hey, remember when we used to stab each other?
I mean,
So we did
basically,
hide a body.
Oh god, oh boy.
that's a different story. That wasn't tied to a game. That was tied to something else. But
Better not be
I
tied
mean,
to a
we were
game.
trying to get it
Oh
back to
god,
report for a reason.
but
Jesus.
the extendable uh, skiing pole thing, we'd extend it, and it's a skiing pole. It's kind of
Yeah.
long. That's kind of required. And thing is, it was also a bit sharp at the end. So when
Uh,
we found
yeah.
that he liked to use that as a spears occasionally if we couldn't find a good stick.
Oh,
But
good
also
lord.
there came a point where we we were just waiting around for something. I can't remember what. And so he had that pole, and I didn't have anything because I wasn't thinking about it at the time.
Yeah.
And we were waiting for something. So yeah, he eventually is like, "Hey, do you want to throw this at each other and practice like catching flying
What the
spears and then just throw it back at each other?" And I
Oh
was like,
my god.
And you
"Dude,
wonder why I was such a
yes."
killjoy.
This is how Dead Slayer 17 died.
So we extended it as far as it could go. It's light, but it also had a bit of a point. It wouldn't kill anyone, but it would certainly cause damage if it goes into a bad spot, like say someone's face or a
Yeah.
throat. But yeah, so he would throw it at me, javelin style. I would catch it and I would throw it back at him. Or if the point was coming a little too close to me, I would step to the side and let it hit,
Mm.
and then just throw it back at him. And we did that a bunch of times. Like nothing bad ever really happened. What Something bad almost happened when the true littlest one that was too young to play with us
Yeah.
was running up, and then Spear Kid threw it, and it was going in his direction. We tried to say look out, but there wasn't very much time between it, and we watched as it very narrowly missed the head of said small child
Oh
by like
god.
half an inch
Oh
as he was
god.
running by.
Ugh.
We thought we were witnessing a
Ugh.
murder. And at that point we
Manslaughter.
were like,
Murder implies
Oh
intent.
god.
accidental manslaughter, sure. And
Yeah.
so we we before we could even shout look out, like it just happened too quickly, and we were just like, okay, let's not do this while he's around. We didn't learn a lesson really. Just when he's around, don't do it. That's the extent of the lesson. We still
It's
played
kind of
after
a
that.
lesson. Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of a
Don't
lesson.
play
Don't
with
do it
collateral
around people
around.
who are married.
Lesson learned, not the potential damage that can come from the game. We already understood that. The lesson learned was civilian casualties. And that was
Well, then that makes you better than a lot of superhero comics. Let's be real. I'm not surprised that you guys didn't care about the pain, considering the game Mom said you and I used to play when we were still learning how to talk.
eyeball. Boink.
Oh boy, I can see where
No!
this is going.
Then like 5 minutes later when we calmed down, the other one who was just recently crying, eyeball. Doink. And it was just back and forth.
You bring up like two very important things. Like one, the whole pain thing. Like I didn't I don't think the same thing where like I didn't I had a period where I didn't like pain, but then like so I didn't really understand
And
like
now
some.
you love it?
Oh no, I don't care anymore. I'm like from my last job, I am totally dead to a lot of pain. I don't. In fact, I can't literally feel pain in some places now. But like the physical
Drama.
pain, physical pain. Oh, I'm emotional wreck. Yeah, that's different. But like, um, I remember this thing like for a short tangent. It's like this is other people's games, and I don't know if they count as childhood because I was like 15, 14. But these kids
I
I
was
knew.
like 13, 14 for the stories I just told.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, so 14, 15, like I didn't really understand this, but like it became a trend in my where I was where like people would like would fucking would like choke. No, not, I don't know how you explain it. Everyone, someone would
They
breathe
would
out all.
choke each other?
Well, so like someone would breathe out all their air, and then someone would come up behind them and hold their lungs, and they would pass out and start
How do you
twitching.
hold someone's lungs? That's
You
I'm
grab
picturing Mortal Kombat.
you
Kalima! I think he
Kalima.
just means they grabbed him from behind.
Yeah, they grab them from
Oh
behind
my.
and compress their lungs, and the person would turn red and pass out, and then they drop them, like, and it was like,
I
and then they'd all
mean,
start
Mom
twitching and
and her
shit.
friends would practice the chokehold on each other for the same effect.
Yeah, but that was the
Well, not the exact
chokehold,
same effect. They were practicing
right?
self-defense. I was
The
about
big
to
dig.
tell a story about how Dead Slayer, Spearhead, and Berserker used to give each other dead legs as a game, but yours is
Oh,
way
I
worse.
remember that.
That
I
wasn't
remember
us
that.
giving each other dead legs. That was we would, the thing in parkour games where it's like if you're running alongside a fence and then you like run into it, instead of your character running face first into the fence, they'll like do that thing where they put their arm on it and then they just like vault over sideways.
Yeah.
It's we basically would do that to the arm of the couch that at the time came up to about the top of our thighs,
Oh, I
and
did
so
that
we would
too.
often
I used to do that too.
slam ourselves full force into the side of the thighs, into the arm of the couch, and we just happened to get dead legs.
It sounded like a competition when I was watching you guys.
No, the competition
Yeah.
was to see who could do the best side vault, whatever the hell you call that.
Yeah. Do you remember
We
when
just
I
happened to
said that I
get dead
like
legs all the time.
that I can't feel pain in part of my bodies? I literally have a whole part of my leg I can't feel any pain. I can't feel anything in because I did that.
Damn.
Yeah, I did that too much, and then one day I was like, "Huh, I can't feel my fingers on my leg."
We also we used to get really bored with general games like tic-tac-toe and checkers.
Yeah.
So we did invent a few variants of our own.
Ah,
Yeah, so there was double checkers. Dead
double
Slayer, do you remember that
checkers.
one?
Sort of.
All right. So
Yeah,
what
I remember we set up instead of setting up checkers like every other square like you normally would, we just set up the entire thing, but it was two separate games going on at the same time.
Yeah,
Oh,
but you could only move one piece at a time, on
oh,
Yeah,
your
that's
so you
kind
end.
of
had to choose
cool.
what game you were playing.
That sounds kind of
Yeah,
cool.
it was
Yeah.
pretty fun. It's because we
Yeah,
had backgammon pieces and checker pieces for the same board.
Ah, okay.
yeah. Which made it easy to determine which piece was what at a glance instead of having to go, "Oh, wait, shit, what?
Is this
Oh,
white or
yeah.
black?
Is
I
this
can't
this
remember.
game or is this that game?" Because half the pieces for one game were shiny and smooth and the others were wood.
I know that we like this might. I know that they made a revamp version of this, but did you guys ever play Mousetrap, or did you know anyone who had it?
We
We
did
had it.
play.
We never understood how to play it, or at least
Yeah,
I never
same
understood how to
here.
play it.
I never knew how to play it, so I just set it up and then like hit the Mousetrap over and over again.
Pretty
It's like,
much.
what the fuck, right?
Oh, do you remember
Like
the game
they...
Sorry?
Yeah, I remember. Sorry,
I liked Sorry. That was
I did
fun.
too. Sorry was fun.
I did not like Sorry. It relied too much on RNG for me.
I mean that's any dice game.
Yeah, like that's the same as Shoots and Ladders, complete RNG.
Oh
Yeah, but
man,
somehow Sorry just rubbed me the wrong way.
for the subject of board games, what the fuck? It was a childhood game, even if we didn't make it up. Did you ever play or you ever hear about the the magazine slash series Mad?
I
Yes.
know of Mad. I think it was
Yeah.
shown a magazine. I don't remember
We
anything from
watched
it.
the show on Cartoon Network that was based off Z Magazine.
Oh,
So
okay.
they made a game off of Mad, and my mom bought it, and it is like one of the funniest ass games. It's literally Monopoly, except you have to lose all your money to win.
Sick. I love it.
Yeah, and there's shit, and so like there's shit that said you won the lottery, gain $100, and you're like fuck.
No.
I like that.
And speaking of
I think that was
Monopoly, do you
freshman year.
remember like how we used to like play Monopoly together? Because like no one else would play with us.
I love
Oh
Essentially, our
Monopoly.
yeah.
grandma hated board games.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, she hates them.
Oh, damn.
Still
That
does.
sucks. I
So I
We
can't
had
love
play
board
any of the
games.
board games here.
we had a rule with Monopoly where whenever you buy things, instead of the money going to the bank, it goes to the center of the board, and if you land on free parking, you get all the money on the board.
Well,
Oh,
that's a
that
standard one.
was
I'm more talking about like
yeah, that was a
how
standard one.
we had a like honor system.
Honor system.
Yeah, like if I passed go and I couldn't remember if I collected the money, I'd ask you and you'd be like, "Yeah, no, I'm not sure. Here's $200 anyway."
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's fair.
because because I kept losing track as banker, and she wasn't paying attention to begin with, so it's just like, wait, did that
Yeah, so
happen?
like we just kind of like we were young, neither of us were that good at math, so like we just kind of like if one of us asked, "Hey, do you think I should have this?" the other one would go like, "Yeah, probably," and the other person would get the money. When we played those rules, like when our super competitive aunt came, she thought we were cheating. And she wasn't mad that we were cheating, but she was mad that I wouldn't cheat with her.
Yep,
So we
I
actually
remember explicitly.
we had those rules too. We had like we used to allow people to cheat as long as you weren't caught. If you're caught, you have to give back all the money. But like I was really good at watching people cheat and cheating. But then one day I completely met my match because I was so used to being honorable. And my friend stole $3,000, and we didn't understand how he kept on. And we didn't even think about it. Like, he did it really well. Like he hit it before he added to his hand, which was very smart because we couldn't tell. It's just he always seemed to have money to buy stuff, and it was like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
that is
And
how I
like,
play
yeah,
DS.
and I gotta say he was really good at it because like I was usually really good at catching people, but no, he completely fooled me. I didn't even see him do it. Like, good for him. He wasn't even the banker. I was. Like he somehow he like stole it from me. It was kind of crazy. And I
That's pretty
remember getting
great.
Three
really
thousand
upset because
dollars.
I was like, I'd never been that duped
I'm
before.
curious how he managed that too, because this is Monopoly, right?
Yeah.
The easiest way to hide that would be if it were only the $500 bills, and that would still
Yeah.
be 6 of those, and you can't break those. So if you buy something for like 250 and you keep asking the banker, "Hey, can you break this? Hey, can you break this? Hey, can you break this?" You're like, "Hold on, I don't remember giving you any of these."
No, he didn't do 500s. He did 100s and 500s at the same time. So like, but he just did really well. He stole a bunch at first.
That's
And so it
impressive.
happened. Yeah, he did. And it was really impressive. I was very surprised he did. That's what I'm saying that like I've never been that duped before. And I didn't even suspect him. Like at one point I did suspect it cuz he owed me like $300 one cuz I really pumped up one and he was able to pay it. And then he jumped on another one of mine and he had to pay me another $300. But for some reason I let it go. I'm like, "Wait a minute." But then someone
I'm
must have interrupted me or something because it was completely out of my head after that. And I just never did. And he's like, "Yeah, I stole like $3,000, man." And I'm like, "There's no," because it was like, "Good job, buddy."
I
Like,
know
fuck.
landlords like that. Hold on, I knew he was up to something when he was able to afford rent this month.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't believe it.
I can't remember. Was it Liar's Dice? I think I
Yeah,
originally
Liar's
Oh,
Dice.
learned
yeah, yeah.
that.
Our grandpa kept trying to teach us. He taught me.
Not because like I knew at least a version of the game, not the one that he was teaching. That I learned from the PlayStation 2 game Pirates of the Caribbean
Oh, I learned it from Parts
at
of the
World's
Caribbean as
End.
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
I learned it from the movie. I just remember because he's like 3 stars. Welcome to the crew, and it's like I just remember that so well.
yeah. I played the Outworld's End game. I wonder if that's on Steam. It's shitty
Probably
quality. It'd
not.
probably
Yeah,
not be the
probably
best game.
not. Yeah.
But yeah, I learned that, and then apparently that's different from the actual like liar's dice game, because I
Oh.
remember my grandpa trying to teach me how to play and I wasn't understanding it, but put me on pirate's dice and I would kick ass. But I don't even remember the rules anymore because I haven't played that game in ages. Either version.
We can play liar's dice like next time we meet up. I just carry dice around with me.
Why?
Well, I carry a bunch of stuff around with me just in case I have to wait somewhere, like cards, dice, just
Mm.
games in general. A bunch of really, really tiny board games.
God, I guess like going back to like childhood games in school. Even though we had our eighth thing, I remember like we couldn't. Obviously we had to play just regular games. But I remember like this one time we were playing tackle football. Which obviously we had to play when people weren't looking. Like we wouldn't tackle
Well,
each other
yeah.
when someone wasn't looking. We'd tackle. And I remember we hurt some kid so bad that all the monitors had to leave to help him. And during that time, we played Kill the Carrier, and that was like I remember that being extremely silly because literally people would just go after each other who didn't have the fucking ball. So it was just brawling.
Just tackling each other.
I just remember I remember two and we this was in elementary, so it's like it's a meat fest. You have kids who are like 5 go and kids who are like 12. And I remember three first years going after my friend when we were like in fifth grade, and them just like going after him, and him just like picking them all up and going and just like throwing them over, and they all three of them just
That's
go
less
flying.
off.
I just remember whenever it would always seem like a little kid had the ball, and then they would be like and then they'd just be under a big pile of people, and it's like, man, how did like did no one ever die?
So your entire school just went fuck them kids.
Literally, it was just so fucking sad. It was like literally as soon as they were gone, we're just like, kill the carrier, and then everyone just ran into the grass area so we could do it.
Hey Marigold, in the same vein, do you remember when like for middle school when our bus
I
still do you remember when we would be waiting for the bus in the grassy hill and then we would play Mr. President?
Yes,
Oh,
I
you
remember
guys,
Mr. President Get Down. I was thinking about you
you guys
guys
played
rolling
that?
into traffic down that grassy hill.
No, there was a better grassy hill that we would roll into traffic.
Yes, there was, but if you were there and no one wanted to play Mr. President Get Down.
I think that's probably one of the most amusing and at the same time incredibly stupid games we've ever played was Mr. President Get Down. Just literally put two fingers to your ears and then once you identify your victim, the last one to put their fingers to their ears, they're Mr. President. You just shout, "Mr. President, get down!" and fucking tackle them.
It was so great.
Because everyone who had their finger to their ears in time was Secret Service
Of
listening
course,
in on
yeah.
the earpiece. Of course, that's
Yeah.
what the ear thing was, and so Secret Service had to make sure Mr. President got down. And my
Obviously.
God, did they?
That president went down, and he went down hard
Mr. President.
every single time.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
god.
still look at people's ears. Actually, that psychologically trained me.
That's a scar.
Do you remember
was a
that game
fun
that we
scar,
also
though, so it's
tried
fine.
where one person would sit down crisscross applesauce and close their eyes, and everyone else was like a
Yeah,
set distance
murder.
away? Murmur, yeah. And
Oh,
No,
then
murder.
murder.
I remember Murder. I played
I'm
Murder.
deaf.
Murder's fun.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then just like try to sneak up, and then whoever was sitting in the middle would just start pointing in every direction at once or as fast as they
Yeah,
could,
yeah.
trying to
Well, the
get people.
cheaters would do that.
Of course.
I just remember Murder was really fun. But as soon as we hit puberty, it took a completely different turn. Like, because it's like, I don't know how you guys play, but you have to murder someone, you have to grab them.
For us,
Yeah,
we
we could
just tapped
tackle.
them on the shoulder.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. We would grab
You just
people.
had
And
to
so
touch
when
them.
yeah, so when you're like in summer camp and got older, it was like you grab someone, you hear wow and stuff because you grab someone's butt accidentally, and it was like uh oh,
Oh no.
exactly.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Puberty did not change our childhood games because
Well, that's
we
good for
are
you.
monsters.
Good for you.
I mean, it probably helped that I was the only girl there.
You're monsters. That literally, that's like
I'm
innocent.
joking.
That's the
I'm joking.
opposite. How dare you be innocent?
I think that's it for the games I can think of.
Yeah,
Yeah, me
pretty much.
too.
The only other one I have is like pretending to be horses on the blacktop in elementary
Oh
school.
my. Oh wow. That's a good way to shred your knees and hands.
And I believe that's all the time we have today. Please remember to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. And be sure to comment down below the childhood games you've played, and all the psychological trauma that you still endure from them. Bye!
Rama.
Bye.
Cheers.